Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us here on KREM 2 News at 6. I'm Whitney Ward at home, of course. Mark Hanrahan there at the KREM 2 studios. Hi, Mark.
Hey, good evening to you, Whitney. Hope you're doing well. One day we'll all be able to be back here in the studio together again. Looking forward to that. Okay, first up tonight, a sense of relief from local leaders today to Governor Inslee's announcement that Spokane County can now apply to move on to phase 2 of reopening. County Commissioner Al French and Spokane Mayor Nadine Woodward say they are confident that request will be quickly approved. KREM 2's Amanda Rowley was at the press conference today. She joins us live with more on what local leaders said. Amanda?
Yeah, Mark, Spokane Mayor Nadine Woodward said she could not be happier with the news that Spokane County can now apply to move on to phase 2. In fact, just this afternoon after the governor's announcement, the Spokane County Board of Commissioners approved this letter with an update on the variance criteria, acknowledging the state's new criteria and asking for immediate moving on to the next phase. Now, Spokane County Regional Health District says it is also in favor of moving on to the next phase. It is currently preparing updates to the variance request, and it expects to submit the request in a day or two. Now, Spokane leaders say they want and expect to be approved to reopen by Memorial Day weekend. And I asked why they are so confident Spokane County will be approved by then. Here's what they had to say.
I believe that since we've already submitted a proposal once and that answer came back rather quickly, that in our talks with some of our other electeds, the answer the second time will come very, very quickly. So I'm anticipating it will be in time for Memorial Day weekend.
Please be patient for the next couple days. Give us the chance to be able to get us open, and that way you don't have to worry about somebody coming knocking on your door and trying to educate you about the fact that you're in violation of the governor's order.
We're ready to slowly and methodically begin to reopen our community.
Now, the state's new variance criteria also requires a certain number of trained contact tracers on hand in the approved county. Well, the health district confirms as of today, Spokane has the needed 75 contact tracers. They are comprised of health district staff, volunteers, and medical students. Now, that criteria also includes having enough PPE supplies and testing kits. Now, Dr. Lutz with the Spokane Regional Health District has expressed repeatedly the need for these materials, but today at this evening's press conference, the health district says it will have enough. It does have enough of those materials in order to get approval to move on to the next phase. I also do want to point out, we also can confirm that Multicare and Providence, it can also handle a surge of cases if it becomes necessary. Reporting from the Emergency Communications Center, Amanda Rowley, KREM 2 News.
Amanda, thank you very much. And as our community awaits the word from the governor, some places have already gotten a head start opening against the governor's order. The Black Diamond Bar in Spokane was filled with people last night. A deputy stepped in during that time, and KREM 2's Shayna Waldtower has the story of what happened next.
A restaurant filled with people dining inside. It's a sound many people haven't heard in a while, except for those visiting the Black Diamond Bar.
Super busy, packed. Social distancing wasn't really happening. The 6 feet apart.
The bar opened Friday against Governor Inslee's orders. We spoke with the owner after his first weekend open about why he decided to open early.
It will be a breaking point for us very soon, and we didn't want to wait until we were at that breaking point.
And since then, there's been a steady flow of customers. Stevie Lynn and some of her family were there last night.
A lot of people, outside, they'd all sing together, just strangers. It was funny, singing together to music.
The music continued, but the conversations quickly stopped when a sheriff's deputy walked in uniform.
I was scared. I'm just like, oh no, could I get in trouble for being here with my child too?
Deputy Jeff Gretschel was doing his patrols when he saw the bar was open and people were gathered inside. Mark Gregory, corporal for the Spokane County Sheriff's Office, says Gretschel went in to speak with the owner.
Stops in, says hi to the guy, like what's going on, and ended up the hug had to do with him being friends with the guy.
According to Gregory, Gretschel told the owner he was violating the stay-home order. Then the conversation ended with a hug. Gretchel and the owner happened to be longtime friends. As he was leaving, Gretchel waved to the crowd, shown in this video. Lynn says he told everyone to have a good night and that he didn't urge people to leave.
I was definitely relieved to see that, and then just like to see the community, everybody like had the exact same reaction that I had.
Deputy Gretchel said he didn't want to speak on camera, but he did give us this statement saying, quote, "It was nice to see people happy and smiling for a change. It spoke volumes about people's feelings and emotions." He said it was one of the most uplifting emotional moments he's ever experienced. Corporal Mark Gregory says he doesn't believe there's any cause for an investigation. He says the deputy was enforcing the governor's orders by educating the bar owner about the current restrictions. In Spokane Valley, Shayna Waldtower, KREM 2 News.
In Whitman County, some businesses are finally able to welcome customers back once again. Last week, the county was approved to move on to stage 2 of Washington's reopening plan. And that means restaurants could open their dining rooms at half capacity and barbers could start cutting hair again. KREM 2's Taylor Vito reports from Pullman.
Well, Pullman businesses I spoke with said they are very happy to be back open. They added that they necessarily haven't been swamped with customers from out of town, but despite that, they are happy that Whitman County is in the second phase of the state's reopening plan.
Felt great. So just one step closer to getting back to feeling like I'm my normal self.
And for WSU student Dylan Rinaldini, that sense of normalcy includes getting a haircut, something that didn't happen for weeks due to COVID-19. But lucky for Rinaldini and other Pullman locals, the Man Shop Barbershop was able to open their doors last weekend.
That was one step away from getting my own clippers and cutting my own hair, but I knew that wouldn't have turned out good, so I'm super happy that they opened up again.
It looked a little different inside, though. Not just stylists, but customers as well all had to wear masks. In addition to emphasized cleaning, customers also had to clean their hands before a cut.
Well, from a business standpoint, I mean, it's great. It's been difficult to be shut down for over 2 months. I mean, we receive multiple requests every single day from our customers over this time period of when are you going to reopen?
And the Man Shop says they've been busy. They say some customers have come down from Spokane for haircuts, but not a large number necessarily. Last week, Whitman County was given the green light to move into the second phase of Washington's reopening plan. That meant that barbershops and salons could reopen, provided they followed guidelines, like using protective gear.
You know, it's just difficult to get, the supplies you need, so we've had to scramble a little bit there.
But it hasn't been as easy for everyone. It just depends who you ask. Legends Barbershop, also in Pullman, said the costs associated with getting PPE and other guidelines from the state would be a burden for them, so they plan to reopen in a later phase. As for restaurants,
I love cooking for people.
Tani Schumlass, who owns Rico's Pub, was happy to be cooking for sit-down guests once again. They opened last Friday, and diners flocked to the patio.
But I think people just really enjoyed being outside, talking to other people, having a beer. It was nice.
Guests still can't sit at the bar, though. Rico's is at just 50% capacity inside, and they have to use paper menus and toss them out after each guest takes a look.
So we have to sanitize everything when it's done.
Now, despite the excitement, Rico's is still running on a bare-bones crew. They've been serving mostly locals and wonder what a WSU graduation weekend crowd would have looked like. Schumlass hopes coronavirus stays away and the football weekend crowds and their wallets return in the fall.
So you do worry, but thankfully with the lower population and hopefully we can keep it contained.
In Pullman, Taylor Vito, KREM 2 News.
I am so excited for all of it. The haircuts, the eating out, the football games, and if it really does happen by Memorial Day, that will just be the greatest unofficial beginning of summer that I've ever even heard of. But of course, in order to get to Memorial Day weekend, we have to go through kind of a couple of wild weather days. Thomas Patrick is here now to let us know what we've got in store here for the rest of this work week. Thomas?
Yeah, that's the thing, Whitney, is that this week's really feeling a lot more like April as opposed to May, with some cooler weather on the way. We've seen rain the last several days, a lot more of it tomorrow. But check out what happened yet again today. Another funnel cloud. This one was spotted near Ritzville, a little bit to the south and east of town. Big thanks to Valerie for sharing this one through email. If you saw this Funnel cloud as well this afternoon, which happened at around 3 o'clock. Make sure to send those pics my way. I'd like to show a couple more of those here on the broadcast. Flood watch, the main headline heading into tomorrow, because we're expecting 1 to 2 inches of rain and some rising rivers across the area. This includes Coeur d'Alene and areas to the south all the way through the Palouse, because it's going to be a pretty wet day overall tomorrow. Some scattered showers moving across the area. Looks like a little bit might be heading towards Coeur d'Alene as well as through Athol, and maybe could be even heading across the state line. So we'll be keeping tabs on that if we see some light rain tonight. But really all the stuff today has been a lot more tame compared to the last couple days. But tomorrow, kind of another main event kind of day with widespread rain pretty much all day long. So we'll be timing out the start and end of this next weather system and let you know exactly how much you can expect in terms of rain for your area.
All right, Thomas, sounds good. Thank you very much. Well, the top of Mount St. Helens looking serene these days, snow covering its huge, massive crater. It has forever been transformed by that massive eruption 40 years ago yesterday. That explosion killed 57 people. It spewed tons of ash into the sky across several different states across the West. But now, Glenn Farley from our sister station in Seattle has more on Mount St. Helens' other eruptions.
But it's not like the days after May 18th, 1980, Mount St. Helens just settled down. There was another significant series of eruptions that started in 2004. It was late September of that year when deep under the mountain things began to shake and shake and shake. Tiny earthquakes by the thousands and then tens of thousands. By September 30th, scientists knew rock was on the move. And on October 1st, Mount St. Helens was erupting again. This reawakening had followed what the U.S. Geological Survey said was the quietest 4 years since St. Helens sprang back to life in 1980. But this wasn't just a hiccup, it was massive.
We've seen these kinds of scenarios where there's a viscous plug that's pushed out first that then leads to an explosion. That's still a possibility.
Helicopters pick up packages of instruments known as spiders from the parking lot at Johnston Ridge Observatory 5 miles away from the crater, formed back on May 18, 1980 in the cataclysmic eruption. There was a plan to use drones for the first time. Every tool in the toolbox was pulled out just in case. Just the analysis of volcanic gases could tell scientists a lot about what was coming.
Kind of cool. Perfect timing. I just parked my car, got out of my car.
Plumes started coming up, and then there was a couple small tremors.
People came to see just how big this eruptive phase would get.
Spectacular.
And then on October 11th, 2004, there it was, not flowing lava like Hawaiian volcanoes, but an 1,100-degree slab of rock acting more like toothpaste. Its volume, not measured in cubic yards or truckloads, but the growth of rock measured against the weight of aircraft carriers.
We are in a period that we are comfortable calling a renewed lava dome growth at Mount St. Helens.
This new growing dome added to 6 years of dome growth following the blast in 1980. The source, a magma chamber locked and loaded down below. Yet while much of the attention focused on what was big, under the microscopes at the Cascades Volcano Observatory in Vancouver, Washington, it was crystals of rock and how they formed that told the story of what was really going on deep underground.
Bottom line, this magma chamber isn't going to go away in the near future. There are going to be new eruptions from Mount St. Helens in the future. It's a live system.
The expectation is that these kinds of eruptions will keep happening until Mount St. Helens rebuilds itself into something resembling its former glory, and then the cycle starts all over again.
Wow, so fascinating. And over the last few days, we have had so many of you sending in your memories of that day in history back in 1980. I just want to go over a couple of those that you've sent in. One viewer shared, "I remember coming home and going out to find my black cat named Midnight. I couldn't find him because he was the color of the ash. He was no longer black, but gray. It took 3 baths to get him back to his black color." I didn't enjoy that part. Someone else remembered being told not to drive their car because they weren't sure how the ash would damage it. Someone else said they were working at Inland Hardware at the time, and the store completely sold out of garden hoses, nozzles, and dust masks just in a matter of hours. We would love for you to keep sending in those just incredible memories. We know it was an absolutely historic, memorable event back then in 1980. So please keep sending in your memories. And you can also text us at 509-448-2000. Just text us the word events for a list of other online events. You can get more also on our website, KREM.com. In the meantime, we want to continue to highlight our local seniors because this has been some kind of senior year for them. So tonight we are giving a shout out to Camille Carpenter. She is a senior at Moses Lake High School. She'll be attending Southern Utah University to play basketball in the fall. So congratulations to her. This is an exciting time. Keep sending in your senior photos because we love giving a shout out. Text 2020 to 509-448-2000 and we'll send you the submission link. Stay with us. We'll be right back on KREM 2.